Commuting to work, taking a flight, ordering an item online. The very movement of people and goods and supporting infrastructure are at the heart of modern society. However, with the transport sector accounting for around 23% of energy-related carbon emissions, and with almost 7 billion people projected to be living in urban areas by 2050, this is a sector that radically needs to transform. In this episode of A Greenprint for a Sustainable Future, we will explore how the electric vehicle revolution and smart sustainable infrastructure can help us reach net zero and make our cities healthier, efficient, and more resilient places to live.
Transport is important. Out of all of the infrastructure sector is really the one that is touching each and every one of us.
We're right now witnessing the largest movement in human history of people from rural areas into cities. And so being able to adapt a transportation system and build out new transportation networks fast is key for a lot of parts of the world. The good news about moving towards more sustainable mobility and transportation systems is that ultimately they're going to benefit all of the residents of that city because they're going to decrease emissions, they're going to decrease air pollution, and ultimately make your city a little healthier.
As we think about the fastest route to net zero, it's first about getting the commitment and the buy-in from leaders. Secondly, it's about not just talking, but actually acting, doing the things outside of just carbon offsets.
Governments and businesses need a clear roadmap that considers the availability of technology and affordability.
Fortunately, thanks to Electricity 4.0, the convergence of electricity and digitization, we have the technology we need to accelerate the sustainable transformation of infrastructure and transport.
Decarbonizing transport can have a high impact on greenhouse gas emission and is something that can be actioned really now.
The electrical technologies are there, the flexibility exists already, all digital technology to offload your charging for a point of time, all that exists, so there is absolutely no reason to wait. And we know that the right technology to reduce CO2 emission is to replace burning of fuel by electricity, because then the production of electricity is much more efficient, and when you use renewable, is then completely green.
The electrification of transit and also optimizing transit systems with technology is critical to really see a transformation or a move towards a net zero future.
One of the fastest ways for the transport sector to reach net zero is through the mass adoption of electric vehicles for both personal and public transportation.
It's important to decarbonize and offset through the electrical vehicle adoption.
One of the IEA net zero milestone is for 60% of global car sales that have to be electric.
Today, the amount of energy that the electrical vehicle is converting into mobility is at 85%. The same ratio of conversion for a conventional fuel car is only 40%. You already have a factor of energy efficiency by changing from fuel car to electric car. We can look as well at public transportation, trains, which are very efficient because they are in most of the cases already electrified, buses, which are short distance, most of the cases you can electrify city buses. Let's take airports, let's take railway stations. All those infrastructure can be fully electrified, and we can work as well on their energy usage, means we can make them much more energy efficient.
However, the electric vehicle revolution cannot be fully realized unless mass charging infrastructure is rolled out at scale and made affordable to all.
We need to be thinking about how to ensure that these systems are affordable, right? If we roll out new electric vehicles, but they're only available to the sort of wealthiest residents, then we're ultimately not changing the future and the patterns of that city.
In order to achieve this conversion, we need to build the infrastructure that we need for the future. We need to replace all the oil extraction and distribution infrastructure by a new infrastructure to deliver electricity at the point of charging. Charging will come with digital capabilities to allow you to charge at the lower cost of electricity at the moment where it is the most convenient.
While you may be driving an electric car, the goal is not to plug it into a very fossil fuel-ridden supply. Electrification and new innovation around digital solutions is critical to the path forward for infrastructure.
We have tools, digital tools, that allow to connect the demand with the production, and so that you can get the right supply of renewable generation towards your usage. Each time we look at those infrastructures, we are able to reduce the energy usage instantly 30%, just by putting a few digital technology to control the fact that when it's not needed, we don't burn energy.
So the investment in the sector could be increased by providing more and better data, so that the city could actually adjust and adapt in real time to fit the need of its users and its customers.
To decarbonize the sector, we need to ensure that the increased electrification is coming from both renewable sources and avoid straining the grid. Microgrids could be the innovation to solve both those issues.
When thinking about the mobility sector, microgrids are key in the fact that when there's times when there's not enough availability of the utility power, microgrids can provide a very sustainable and efficient offset to that.
The role that microgrids can play in decarbonizing transport and infrastructure is really to cut upfront an ongoing cost of switching from fossil fuel to electric vehicles for bus depot, for example, but also airports and also other type of public transportation.
Microgrids can also offer energy autonomy, something officials in Montgomery County, Maryland, wanted for their public infrastructure following major power outages associated with severe storms.
So Montgomery County, just outside of Washington, D.C., invested in the Brookville Bus Depot, which allows them to bring on new electric buses with 100% renewable power due to a microgrid on that site. The bus depot will eliminate 155,000 metric tons of carbon emissions, or 62% over the lifetime of that project.
For this sector to truly embrace these net zero solutions, the world's governments and businesses will need to forge strong partnerships to ensure the necessary financing is unlocked through business model innovation.
For decades, the sector has faced a vast investment gap. More private investment in infrastructure is needed.
As we think about the benefits to net zero transport and how public-private partnerships can be used, it can help to enhance national and international security, energy independence.
Infrastructure is a massive enabler of jobs. The data here is that for 1 million spent, 3 to 7 jobs are created into advanced economy and 10 to 70 jobs in emerging economies.
As you move over to more efficient systems, that ultimately it's just better business. And so that gives me a lot of hope as we move forward, that as long as the economics are aligned and that we have the ability to save money as we roll out new, more sustainable solutions that are good for the earth, then I can see a real significant progress here.
I absolutely believe we can make it to net zero, and it's a matter of acting now, putting in place some of the technologies and innovations that are truly available today and making them more available at mass and at scale.
It's clear that if we want to accelerate the planet's pathway to net zero, the buildings, industry, and transportation sectors must each embrace increased electrification and digitization. The challenge is undoubtedly huge, but with a combination of smart technology, innovative financing, and collaboration, we can protect our planet and help build a sustainable future for all.